Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who understand that there's more to entrepreneurship than finding the latest flash-in-the-pan strategies, who understand that in order to build your empire, you need a solid foundation. I wholeheartedly believe that entrepreneurship is the biggest self-development journey you can be on, and it's my mission to help you make that journey easier. In this show, I bring together the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist and mindset coach behind this show, and you're listening to the Wired for Success podcast. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in life and business. And after a couple of short solo episodes, I'm bringing you another interview episode today. And my guest today is international millionaire mindset speaker, mentor, Bestselling author, and multi-award-winning business owner Sandy Forster. She's a money mindset mentor for women worldwide who are ready to experience more abundance and freedom in their life. And Sandy went from welfare to millionaire. She has been featured in Oprah's Aussie Secret, and she loves inspiring and empowering women to break through their blocks, to manifest more money, and in general, just to create a life that they are truly passionate about. And since we both love empowering entrepreneurs to live their best lives, I'm super excited to have Sandy on my show today. So welcome, Sandy, and thank you so much for being on my show today.
Thank you so much, Claudia, for having me. Thank you.
It's my pleasure, and I'm really looking forward to our chat. So why don't you start by telling us your welfare to millionaire story? What happened and how did you turn things around?
Well, to give you a very short backstory, when I was 15, my parents decided to sell our house. We lived in one of the southern states of Australia, Victoria, which is quite cold, and they wanted to move to a northern state, Queensland, which is nice and warm. So they decided to sell the house and take half the money, and we traveled the world for about 10 months and then came back to Australia. And when we moved to Queensland, I went to school. I met a boy at high school. We went out for 11 years. I ended up marrying him. When I had a 6-month-old and a 3-year-old, we split up. And at that time, I had a business that was kind of more of a hobby than an actual business, because I would take some money and I would go down to the local discount fabric store and I'd buy rolls of fabric and I'd sew bikinis and leotards, and then I'd do that all winter in my garage where my sewing machine was set up. And then over summer, I would open a store down by the beach and I would sell all my things that I'd created. And the cash money that it gave us really just allowed us to do fun things like landscape the garden or go on a holiday or buy just fun stuff. But what happened when we divorced was that hobby business had to become my actual income. So I tried to turn it into I guess what you'd call a real business, tried to turn it into, making a lot of money. And basically it didn't work. I mean, I ended up borrowing a lot of money from the bank to try and kind of build it up. But really I had no idea about business and how to run a business. And I actually ended up $100,000 in debt and on welfare. And I was getting, I don't know, probably in Australian dollars, it was about $15,000. And in US dollars, that's about, it was about 7.5. I've got no idea what it is in euros, but it wasn't very much. And that's a year. So that's a year. And so I just ended up getting further and further behind and just getting further and further in debt because, living on $15,000 a year with 2 children, you just can't stay even stable. You just get further and further behind. So basically I was really, really, really scared. I had no idea how I was going to be able to change things. I had no idea how I'd ever be able to pay off that debt. I had no idea how my life would ever be different. And I actually thought that I was going to be destined to be struggling around money the rest of my life. And very luckily, I discovered the law of attraction. And prior to that, I'd actually known about positive thinking. Like I understood, because when I was trying to grow my business, I started reading books and going to seminars, trying to learn about how to be, a good salesperson or build a successful business. So I understood about thinking positive. But when I discovered the law of attraction, that took it to a whole new level, because suddenly I discovered that not only do you want to think about what it is that you want in your life, not only think about your goals and your dreams and how you want to live, but don't think about the things that you don't want. Don't think about the things that are going wrong in your life. Don't think about all the bad stuff that's happened in the past or that might happen in the future. Just focus on what you truly want. And when I discovered that, and when I started using the law of attraction in my life, and started learning more about neuroscience and quantum physics, my entire world changed. And that's when I went from welfare to millionaire.
Wow. I mean, that's such an inspiring story, and it really shows what's possible for all of us, I think. Now, yes, I know you've had this massive success, but I bet it wasn't always smooth sailing along the way, right? So what would you say were the biggest mindset blocks that you encountered along the way, and what did you do to break through those blocks?
Yeah, great question. My biggest blocks, and the thing to remember is everybody has different blocks, because it all comes down to how you were raised, the conversations or the things that you heard your parents say, your friends, the media, TV, even religion. Just it really comes down to how your brain has been wired. And the way it gets wired is just those constant messages that we hear. And for me, my biggest block was people who had money, made a lot of money, were rich, were bad people. They were the people who walked all over everyone else. They were greedy. They didn't care about other people. And if they were doing something that made them a lot of money, it was probably illegal. It was probably something really bad. So I had all those blocks. And even though, because, we always hear about people who win the lottery and then, 2 or 3 years later, they have nothing.
Yeah.
And I used to think, oh my gosh, like how stupid are they? Like what? If that happened to me, oh my gosh, I'd be sorted. But strangely enough, the first time I made a lot of money, it all disappeared again. And I'm not saying that I went out and just blew it on stupid stuff. There was things happening in my life that I just couldn't explain. Like my dishwasher broke down, and my clothes dryer blew up, and I cracked a molar in my tooth, and I crashed my car. And all things that had never happened to me before all started occurring to me in my life. And it was because I was wired to believe that people who had lots of money were bad. And I, at a very deep subconscious level, did not want to be one of those bad people. So I was doing some things, just unconsciously attracting things into my world that would make me lose that money so that I wouldn't be one of those bad rich people. So, basically what I ended up doing was creating lots of different processes and exercises and strategies and things to do to constantly keep me focused on what I did want to create in my life, which at the time, remember, I was $100,000 in debt and on welfare, and my absolute dream was to be a millionaire. So I loved dreaming about having a house that was all mine, that I didn't rent, that someone couldn't put the rent up or tell me I had to move or tell me I couldn't paint a wall, like a house that was all of my own, and having the money to travel and do the things that I really loved, and be able to go to yoga or get a massage or go to a meditation session or buy fresh flowers, do all the things that I simply could not do when I was on welfare. So it was just so much fun dreaming about those things and thinking about those things. So as I said, I made up all these different processes and exercises to allow me to continually focus on what I did want to create. And what I found was, and this is very much true for a lot of people who learn the law of attraction today, they really focus on the thinking part. So we kind of, our entire being is made up of body, mind, and spirit. And The Secret, for instance, really teaches around the law of attraction, but it's mainly about the mind. It's mainly about thinking about what it is that you want. But that's only one part of the puzzle. You have to align body, mind, and spirit to actually be able to attract into your life. So that means not only thinking about what it is that you want, but the spirit is the feeling and the emotions and really getting into that place of feeling like it's already occurred. But then the body is you have to take action. You have to take steps every day to manifest your dreams, to have your dreams come true, to achieve those goals. You can't just sit around and meditate and expect the money to drop into your lap. When you align body, mind, and spirit, and you're taking that action, what will happen, which is what happened for me over and over again, is that you'll come up with inspired ideas. You'll have an idea to do something, to connect with someone, to email someone, to reach out to someone, to take this particular course, to learn this particular thing, whatever it is, and it can completely change your life. But you have to be doing those three things, aligning body, mind, and spirit, and that's where the magic happens.
Oh, I'm so glad you're bringing this up, because that's the big issue that I've always had with the term manifesting and things like The Secret, the movie. It's like, no, that's not how it works, because that's only half of the truth. Exactly as you said, if you just sit around, think your positive thoughts, that's not going to change anything. So I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's the same thing that I teach my clients as well, that there is this connection. You have this body-mind connection, or body-mind-spirit, and you have to align all the puzzle pieces to move forward and to make a difference. So
exactly. Yeah. And you know what? I think that the best way it's been described was in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, which was written like over 100 years ago by a man called Wallace Wattles. And it's very old, kind of old style language, but there's one sentence in there that I absolutely love. And he says, by thought, the thing you desire is brought to you, but by action, you receive it.
right.
So, you know, it can come to you in the metaphysical and be out there, but not actually in your physical reality. And it's not until you take action that it turns from the metaphysical into the physical and comes into your world.
That reminds me about that joke where someone is always praying to God, oh, please let me win the lottery, let me win the lottery. And someday God gets annoyed and says, buy a ticket.
Yeah. Meet me halfway, buy a ticket. Yeah. I know, I love that one.
But I think what's really difficult for a lot of people, though, who are just either starting out or who are stuck in the messy middle of entrepreneurship, is that they know what they want. So the thinking part is there, yet they don't know how to get to that result. So, which makes perfect sense when you think about it, because to achieve something that you haven't achieved before, you need to think in different ways, and you need to do things you've probably never done before, right? So let me give you a scenario that's relevant to our audience. Let's say someone is a service-based entrepreneur and they are stuck at, say, maybe 1K a month or 5K a month, but they want to get to those 10 or 20K months. So they've made some money doing what they're doing, but they've never actually made that kind of money. It seems elusive. They consciously know it's possible because other people are out there doing it. They're having those 20K months, maybe even 100K months. But to them, it feels that no matter what they try, it's not working for them. And of course, that's super frustrating because they start to question if they're really cut out for this. They wonder what the heck is wrong with them, or why the heck it's working for someone else, but not for them. And little by little, the self-doubt creeps in, the fear and the negative thoughts start to show up. So what would be your best tips for those entrepreneurs who have reached that certain income ceiling and just don't know how to get to that next level of income?
Yeah. And you know what? That happens at every single level, whether you're trying to reach 100,000 or you're leaping to 250 or 500 or a million. It's going to keep happening. It's just because it is something new. It's not something you've experienced before. So the first thing is, as you said, you know, if you keep looking around at what everyone else is doing, you will start to have those self-doubts and you will start to wonder whether you can do it and how come everyone's doing it so well. So the first thing you need to do is stop looking at what everyone else is doing and just concentrate on yourself and get a really, really strong vision of what you want your life to be. So rather than thinking about your business and I need so many clients and I need to make so much money and I need, like, rather getting bogged down in that, I need to build this funnel and I need that social media marketing and I need blah. It's like, let all that go and instead get really clear on what you want your life to be like. And one of the things I go through with my students is we create what's called a freedom figure. So I've got this whole process that allows you to come up with an exact figure that you need to live your ideal life. And that means potentially having the house of your dreams, the car that you want, maybe traveling, just doing the things that really make your heart sing. So when you're really clear on how, on sort of how you want your life to be, you imagine that you're already living it. You imagine, because just like me, when I was $100,000 in debt and on welfare, I started imagining what it would be like to be that millionaire and to live that lifestyle and have the house that I truly loved and, you know, be able to travel and do all the things that I really wanted. Spend time in that. And as I said, what will happen is when you spend your time in that energy, instead of worrying about what you should be doing, what strategies you should be implementing, all the practical stuff that completely does our head in, when you spend more time in the big vision, in the dream, what will happen is ideas will come to you. You'll make connections who can make such a difference in your business. You will come up with an idea that can change everything. It's like we get so bogged down with the practical details, especially when it comes to building a business, and especially with women building a business. We can get so bogged down in the actual practical details that we stop doing the big vision. We stop dreaming. We stop getting excited. We start, as you said, doubting ourselves, thinking that it's not going to work. So let all the practical stuff go, focus on the big vision, and you'll be guided as to what to do next. And as I said, I've seen it over and over again in my business, over and over again in the people that I work with. So, you know, let all the practical stuff go. I'm not saying stop doing it. That's not what I'm saying. But don't get bogged down in the details. Don't get bogged down in thinking that you have to do this, that, the other, and all the things. Just choose something to do and spend a lot of time visioning your ideal future, visioning your ideal life, and the ideas will come to you. And then, and again, it's just taking one step at a time. Again, I think as women, sometimes we think we have to do it all. We have to do all at once. And that's when, again, it becomes so overwhelming that we end up doing nothing. And then nothing is created, nothing is attracted, nothing becomes a success. So just chill out, take a deep breath, envision your ideal life, spend more time doing that every day than worrying about what's happening in your business. Continue to take action and the universe will create money miracles in your life. Believe me, I've seen it over and over again.
Awesome. So you're saying concentrate on your big vision and let go of the attachment to all the details and the outcome, and then everything will work out because you connect to your intuition, you connect to the universe or whatever you want to call it, and then that's what's opening up all those new opportunities for you, right?
Exactly. And what happens also is your brain, so this isn't just woo-woo magic, your brain also then gets wired because you're focusing on what is important to you. So you're focusing on it and you're attaching emotion to it. So your brain goes, aha, that is super important. So when you go out into the world or you read something or you go somewhere or you meet someone, suddenly your brain is noticing the things that are going to make the things that you say are important to you going to make them happen. So suddenly that part of your brain that allows all those things that we filter out because we see millions of things in a day and we don't take notice at every single solitary tiny little thing, a lot of it is filtered out. But when you feed to your brain what's really important and focus on your goals, then when you go out into the world, your brain filters through to your conscious mind and through to your subconscious what is actually going to help you to achieve your dreams, what's actually going to help you to achieve those goals that you have. So it's not just woo-woo, there is science there as well.
That's so true. So the science behind is that your brain has these, what they call the value tags. So when you're attaching a positive emotion to it, you tell your brain it's important, and then it opens up those perception filters, or it shifts your perception filters, and that changes your experiences and what you see and all the opportunities that are around you. So I totally agree with that.
And that's why it's also so important not to be focusing on what you don't want, because your brain doesn't go, oh, you're saying this is a good thing and you're focusing on this and you're putting lots of emotion into this. That's the only thing we want. Your brain actually goes, this thing, good or bad, is filled with emotion, which means it's really important. So I'm going to find more of that. So if you're focusing on what's bad and what's good, you're going to find a bit of both. But if you're focusing on what's bad, you're going to find a lot of bad. But if you just continue to try and focus on what you want more than anything else, then that's what you'll end up creating and attracting into your world.
Right. So we want to focus on solutions, not on the problem,
Yes.
in a nutshell. And I mean, we know that we have those subconscious blocks, or if we have those subconscious blocks and our subconscious mind is not aligned with our conscious mind, then our subconscious will just steer us away from our conscious goals, right? So it's trying to keep us safe, it's trying to keep us loved and connected, but this can lead to some very frustrating patterns of self-sabotage, as I'm sure a lot of our listeners will be familiar with too. So from your experience, what would you say are the most common ways that entrepreneurs sabotage their own success? And what can they do to break free from that vicious cycle?
Yeah, self-sabotage is enormous, absolutely enormous with everyone, because as you said, we are kind of hardwired, and it's from way back in caveman days that the way you stayed alive was to be part of the community, part of the tribe. And the way that you're part of the tribe is to be like everyone else. You don't stand out, you just be like everyone else. You do what everyone else is doing, and then you're safe in the community, you're accepted. So what happens is, as entrepreneurs, when we try something new, it is scary. And anything that is scary that we're not used to, that becomes something that could potentially, back in caveman days, be something that could kill us. It could be a berry that we don't know what it is, and do we eat it or not eat it? Because if I eat it, I might kill it. There's an animal. What do I do? Do I move, not move? It might attack me. It might eat me. So everything that we're unsure of, everything that is unknown, is to our brain a potential death risk. So that's why we end up sabotaging. We have a great idea, but we hold ourselves back. We don't want to take action because we're scared. We don't actually understand or realize why we're scared, but we're just scared. And sometimes we think, oh, I'm just scared that I'm going to fail, but it's actually we're scared of the unknown. And so that's why visualization is such an amazing tool, because when you spend time visualizing yourself as a success, visualizing yourself having lots of clients, visualizing yourself living the life of your dreams, then it becomes less scary, because you start to rewire your brain to let your brain know that it's okay. And then if there's any way you can use technology to actually rewire your brain, that can really shortcut your success. So for instance, one of the things I do is I create subliminal audios that have brain entrainment and channeled music and subliminals throughout, to actually help people so that they don't have to consciously try and do anything. They just listen to this, and at a subliminal level, at a subconscious level, it starts to rewire their brain so that they just naturally make decisions that move them toward their goals. So anything you can do to rewire your brain is going to help you, and anything you can do to get you feeling more connected with and more at one with whatever your goals are, so that they're not so totally new and so totally scary. Even though you may not think they're scary, like at a logical level, you're not going to be thinking, oh, well, I don't want to do this social media post because I might get killed. I mean, that's not how we think. But at that very primitive part of our brain is going, this is new. I just don't think I can do this because it's unsafe. I don't know what's going to happen. And so we've got to just constantly, little step by little step, do things that are different until we feel comfortable, and until we retrain our brain to understand that everything's okay. We're going to be safe. This is moving us toward our goals.
Yeah, that's so important. I think sometimes it's really about breaking your big, scary goal down into smaller pieces until they become manageable. And then you can take it baby step by baby step, and make progress towards your goals. But yeah, just don't get overwhelmed by this initial huge goal that you don't know how to get there. That's just overwhelming and scary. So totally
Yeah. I agree. And I think for a lot of women, particularly, they get stuck in the overthinking and the procrastination and the perfectionism, and they're trying to get everything just right before they even get started. And so one of the things I love to teach my clients, and that's really served me so well, is instead of the old saying, ready, aim, fire. So get yourself ready, aim, make sure everything's right, get your ducks lined up in a row, make sure everything's perfect, and then fire, get started. I teach ready, fire, aim. So get ready, get started, and then aim, fix it up, tweak it, improve it later on, because that way you're not stuck in the, overthinking, overanalyzing, over perfectionistic, over procrastination mode.
I love that. It's the done is better than perfect, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now I'm curious, with all the success that you have already achieved, what's next for you? So what is your vision, the vision that you have for yourself and your business for the future?
Yeah, I think it's really just more of the same. I was only thinking on the weekend, I just feel so lucky and so blessed that I get to wake up and I get to dive into the law of attraction. I get to share processes and exercises and help people to think up their grandest vision. And then I get to see them to actually, achieve those things and to help people create money miracles on a day-to-day basis. So definitely more of the same. Although I must say I have a podcast launching in about 2 weeks. So by the time this comes out, I will have a podcast, Wildly Wealthy Women, which is all about money, mindset, and manifesting. So I'm very excited about that because I have actually been thinking about it for probably, 10 years. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. But then I thought, this is the year. So very excited.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Looking forward to that. That's going to be exciting. And I've got another fun question for you. So if a lovely little fairy just knocked on your door and granted you just one wish that would come true immediately, what would you wish for?
Oh gosh, I would wish COVID had never happened and that I could continue to travel the world and not be trapped in Australia.
Yes.
That's my wish.
Oh, I think I would probably choose the same thing now that you mentioned that. It's so annoying being stuck. No.
I know. We can leave, but actually I don't think we're allowed to leave. And if somehow we get out, we're not allowed back in the country. So yeah, we're just trapped.
I mean, Australia is beautiful, so it's not too bad.
Nice place to be trapped. Yeah, nice place to be trapped.
Yeah. So now I know you have a gift for our listeners if they are ready to break through their money blocks. Where can they find that?
Yeah, so for people that want to kind of, start diving into changing their mindset and becoming more magnetic to money, I've got a money bundle that consists of some affirmations, a guided visualization, and a few other little tips and secrets. And they can get that at wildlywealthyfree.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And last but not least, where can our listeners connect with you online if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, best place is probably my website, wildlywealthy.com, or you can find me on Facebook or Instagram, Sandy L. Forster.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sandy, for taking the time to be on my show today and for sharing all those great tips and insights. I really appreciate it.
Claudia.
And I'm sure our listeners will appreciate it too.
Yeah, my pleasure. And before I leave, I just want to say that, I don't want people to think that I'm any different than anyone else. Like I dropped out of high school. I didn't even finish grade 11 and I had no connections. I had no money behind me, no great skill. But I discovered the law of attraction. And as I said, I went from welfare to millionaire. So I believe if I can do it, then everyone who's listening can really transform their life too. You just have to learn as much as you can about the law of attraction, find a mentor that you really resonate with, follow their lead, take action, and be persistent.
Great. Thank you so much. So take care and talk to you soon. And all the best for your podcast.
Thank you so much. Bye, Claudia.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show. It would mean the world to me because you'd help me reach more entrepreneurs like yourself who would love this show. If you'd like to learn more about creating a widely successful business without sacrificing your health, relationships, or sanity, make sure to stick around and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future episodes. And why don't you help me spread the word and share this show with your friends? I'd really appreciate it, and I'm sure your friends will too. Want to continue this conversation, build real relationships, and join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs? Come join my free Facebook community for visionary entrepreneurs. I would love to see you there. In the meantime, if you haven't done so already, grab my free brain priming audio file for entrepreneurs and start priming your brain for success in less than 5 minutes each morning. Curious? You can learn more about how this works and download the audio file at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions. Until next time, bye!